My wife asked for an open marriage, started seeing a CEO, then tried to come back when he disappeared. But by then, I was already dating her best friend. What's up, Reddit? I never imagined I'd share something like this, but I've carried this story for a long time, and it needs to be told. So, here it is. I'm a 35-year-old man, and I've spent most of my life working in construction. I started right after high school and worked my way up over the years. I don't sit in air conditioned offices, and I don't have a modern job title filled with slashes. I work with my hands. I build structures that stand on their own. People respect that, at least until they start looking for something more glamorous. I was married for 3 years. Jennifer is 30 and works in public relations or marketing, something along those lines. She spends more time in meetings discussing vibes than producing anything concrete. I used to joke that I get paid to sweat while she gets paid to send emails with emojis. For a while, things were stable. We had our routine, dinners together, weekend errands, regular couple habits. Nothing extraordinary, but steady. We weren't fighting, and we weren't distant. That's why what happened after her girls' trip felt so strange. She went to Dallas for a weekend with friends, shopping, spa appointments, expensive drinks, the usual. Her best friend Evelyn, 31, was there too. Evelyn has always been cool, down to earth, enthusiastic, the balanced one in a group that often acts like they're filming a reality show. When Jennifer came back, she seemed different. Not tired from travel, different. She was distracted, colder, zoning out mid-conversation. Always on her phone, smiling at messages like they were comedy routines. I figured she just needed time to unwind, so I didn't push. But the shift had started even before that trip. A few months earlier, Jennifer began spending more time with her friend Brittany. They hadn't been that close before. Brittany has always been loud about her opinions. She constantly talks about keeping options open and says relationships shouldn't feel like cages. Interesting perspective for someone whose longest commitment was probably her hairstylist. Suddenly, Jennifer was having weekly dinners with her and coming home late. Every time she returned, her mood was off. Overly cheerful or strangely irritable, like she was trying to convince herself of something. I assumed it was just a phase. Then one Tuesday night, it happened. I was in the kitchen making eggs. She stood there watching me like I was about to break something valuable. Calmly, as if discussing laundry detergent, she said, "I think we should try an open relationship." I laughed at first. Thought she was joking. She didn't laugh. I turned around. She was serious. Calm. Almost rehearsed. "Wait, what?" I asked. She repeated it in the same even tone. "I just think it could be good for us. It's not a big deal. A lot of couples do it." Right? As if it were a new lifestyle trend she found online, somewhere between meal prep ideas and matching pajamas. I leaned against the counter. "Where is this coming from?" She shrugged. "It's just how I feel. I've been reading about it. Brittany's in one. She says it changed her life." There it was. Brittany, who treats every questionable decision as empowerment and once described monogamy as outdated. The same Brittany whose idea of growth is joining a new dating app every month and calling it self-discovery. I didn't argue. I flipped the eggs and let her keep talking. "It's about personal growth," she said. "Learning more about ourselves while still choosing each other, just without restrictions." I stayed quiet, not because I was shocked, but because I was disappointed. Not by the concept itself. People experiment with relationships. What bothered me was that she didn't approach it as a discussion. She presented it as a conclusion, like I was expected to agree and admire her for being progressive. Instead, I handed her a plate of eggs. In that moment, she stopped feeling like my wife and started feeling like someone else entirely. I didn't yell. I didn't explode. I just stood there processing that the woman I built a life with was casually suggesting we invite other people into our marriage. But this wasn't sudden curiosity. She had been thinking about this for a while. Maybe she already had someone in mind. Brittany may have encouraged her, but the idea didn't start there. The next day, instead of saying no, I said, "Okay, sure, let's try it." Her face lit up like I'd just given her a dream gift. "Really? You're open to it?" "If it makes you happy," I said. That night, she moved around the house almost giddy. I stayed calm, but internally, I was paying close attention. I've always believed that if you let people talk long enough, they'll reveal everything. Jennifer was about to prove that. By the next morning, she was texting constantly and going out more often. New clothes, a more expensive perfume, coffee with friends every evening. The same excuse repeated. She thought I didn't notice. I noticed. I didn't question her. I didn't confront her. I went to work, handled my responsibilities, and stayed silent. It was easier to observe when I suspected she was already far beyond considering anything. So I watched. I listened. I waited. Jennifer didn't truly want an open marriage. She wanted a backup plan while she explored an upgrade. And I was supposed to stay in place while she tested the waters. Then my sister Nora called. We've always been close. She's 2 years younger and extremely direct. If something's wrong, she'll say it. She texted, "Can we talk? It's about Jennifer." She came over and didn't waste time. "Leo," she said, "I know you think you're handling this open relationship thing calmly, but Jennifer is already cheating on you." That got my attention. She showed me screenshots from a group chat with someone who used to spend time with Jennifer and her friends. According to those messages, Jennifer met someone during the trip, someone with potential. In reality, she had already been speaking to him before the weekend. He was a tech company CEO, wealthy, high-end car, constant travel, expensive lifestyle. One message stood out. "If I play this right, I won't have to worry about money again." Jennifer wasn't exploring freedom. She was evaluating opportunity. I sat there quietly, not angry, just cold. The suspicion I'd carried for weeks was now confirmed. Nora said, "I didn't want to interfere, but watching you let her walk over you didn't sit right." I appreciated her honesty. I told her not to share this with anyone else. I wasn't ready to act, at least not publicly. When someone shows you who they are, sometimes the smartest move is to let them continue. Let them get comfortable. Let them think they're in control. Now everything made sense. The open marriage proposal wasn't about growth. It was a strategy. She wanted permission to pursue Mr. Executive without looking like the villain. She wanted freedom without consequences. And I was supposed to cooperate, maybe see someone casually, keep things balanced, and wait while she decided whether to upgrade or return. That was the plan. But this is where everything shifted. I started paying closer attention to Evelyn. Let me be clear. Nothing inappropriate happened during that time. Not even close. Evelyn isn't the kind of woman who throws herself at someone. She's smart, well put together, and fully aware when a situation is messy. She kept her distance and stayed respectful. But after Jennifer brought up the open relationship, I began replaying moments in my mind. The way Evelyn had watched me fix the porch railing last year. How she stayed behind to help clean up after Jennifer's birthday dinner. How she never gossiped or stirred drama when things between Jennifer and me became tense. Then she texted me, "Hey, how are you holding up?" I didn't know what to say, so I replied, "Still breathing." She answered, "You don't deserve to be treated like this. I've seen what's going on. You deserve better." That hit differently. No one else had said it so directly. Most people avoided the truth. Evelyn didn't. After that, my mindset shifted. I wasn't just the calm husband managing chaos anymore. I was thinking strategically, not out of revenge, but because I refused to let someone dismantle what I built while shopping for an upgrade. And yes, I made a move, but nothing dishonest. I simply allowed Evelyn to be around more naturally. It began small. She came by to pick up a jacket she'd left at our house. I asked if she wanted coffee. She said yes. We talked for about 20 minutes. About work, about how tired she was of the constant drama Jennifer pulled her into. She said Jennifer tends to create chaos and then gets upset when it becomes real. Yeah, I told her. I'm familiar with that. After that, I didn't have to force anything. Evelyn started showing up more often. Sometimes to drop something off, sometimes to talk while I worked on my truck. She'd hold a flashlight, pass me tools, ask questions about what I was fixing. Most people would be bored watching someone deal with rusted bolts. She actually paid attention. Jennifer noticed. One night, as I was getting ready for bed, she casually said, "You've been spending a lot of time with Evelyn lately." The next morning, while tying my boots, I looked at her and asked, "Why does that bother you?" She shrugged, pretending it didn't. "It doesn't. I'm just saying." I smiled slightly. Good, because I wasn't asking. After that, the questions increased, like a detective without a warrant. Was Evelyn here again? Did she say anything about me? Why is she texting you so much? At first, I acted casual. She stopped by. She borrowed the drill, which was true. She did borrow it once. Whether she used it or not didn't matter. The point had been made. Then things became obvious. Jennifer stopped seeing the CEO. She said he became too intense and that she needed space. Suddenly, she started reinvesting in me, cooking more, calling me babe again, like that word could erase everything. One night, I came home from picking up supplies, and she had prepared a candlelit dinner. Is it someone's birthday? I asked. She smiled. No, I just thought it would be nice for us to spend time together, like old times, old times. Before she treated our marriage like a backup plan, I sat down and ate quietly. Then I said, Evelyn mentioned you make a good mushroom risotto. Jennifer froze. Her expression tightened. You talked to Evelyn about this? Yeah. She said she used to help you with the recipe. Jennifer forced a smile so tight it looked painful. After that dinner, her behavior shifted again. She hovered, followed me around, asked who I was texting and whether Evelyn had said anything new. At one point, I told her, you should stop pacing around the kitchen like you're rehearsing for a thriller. She didn't appreciate that. What really changed things was one weekend when I invited Evelyn over to help repair the back fence. Jennifer was inside pretending to read a book she hadn't opened in months. Evelyn and I worked outside, joking naturally. She teased me about measuring twice and still cutting wrong. I joked about her small hands being useless with power tools. It felt easy, genuine, the most relaxed I'd been in months. I looked up and saw Jennifer standing at the window, watching. I waved. She stepped away. That night she tried guilt. I feel like you're pushing me away. I answered calmly. You asked me to accept you dating someone else. That's not pushing you away. That's giving you exactly what you wanted. She snapped. You never wanted it. You said yes to trap me. No, I said. I said yes to see how fast you'd run to someone else. It was faster than expected. She walked off angry. The next morning, Evelyn texted. She called me. She's spiraling. Let her, I replied. She wanted openness. Now she's experiencing it. Jennifer thought she was in control. She assumed I'd stay passive and wait. She didn't realize I was already moving forward. After that, things between Evelyn and me changed. It wasn't sudden or forced. It just felt right. So I invited her to dinner. Not out, but at my place. She brought homemade lasagna, layered perfectly and baked crisp on top. We sat at the kitchen table, eating and laughing about small things. Nothing dramatic. Just two people who'd been through enough and wanted a quiet evening. Halfway through, I said, I don't want to play games anymore. She set down her fork. Neither do I. There was a short pause. I should tell you something, she said. I raised an eyebrow. I've always liked you, Leo. Even when you and Jennifer first got together, I never said anything because you were taken. And I don't cross that line. But I saw how steady you were. The way you built things, not just structures, but stability. I always wondered what it would be like if someone like you chose me. I let the words settle, not because I was shocked, but because it was honest. Well, I said, I'm choosing you now. No guessing. She met my eyes. So we're doing this? Yes, I replied. No games, no complicated rules, just clarity. The next day I came home from work, boots still dusty, and found Jennifer on the couch scrolling through her phone. Evelyn was arriving soon. I sat down calmly. Just so you know, Evelyn and I are together now, officially. Jennifer froze mid-scroll. You're joking. No. With Evelyn? My best friend? You gave up exclusivity, I reminded her. I'm just exploring, like you encouraged. She stood up abruptly. That's disgusting. How could you do this to me? With her. I kept my voice steady. I'm the man who gave his wife the chance to be honest, who stayed while she pursued a CEO like our marriage was optional. You didn't just open the door, you removed it. She started pacing, calling Evelyn fake, calling me a traitor, accusing us of plotting behind her back. Then her tone shifted. I've been thinking, she said. I don't want an open relationship anymore. I want things to go back to normal. As if it were a light switch. I looked at her calmly. I've been thinking too. You should start packing. She blinked rapidly. You're not serious. I am. You'll receive the divorce papers. You're divorcing me? Yes. I'm divorcing the version of you who forgot what commitment means. The one who thought love was something to upgrade when someone wealthier showed up. The one who treated loyalty like it was temporary. She tried to interrupt, but I continued. You wanted options. You explored them. And now that the guy with the Tesla stopped calling, you remember me. You don't miss me. You miss the security. Silence. You wanted freedom, I said. You have it, freedom from this marriage. She stood there, searching for another angle. Can't we at least talk about this? She asked quietly. We already did, I replied, when you decided I didn't matter. I walked past her calmly. No yelling, no broken objects. Start packing, I said. I'll be back later. When I returned, she was gone. Evelyn arrived shortly after. I told her everything, how Jennifer reacted, what she said. Evelyn nodded. She was never going to handle this well. She's not used to losing. We sat on the back patio eating leftovers straight from the dish. Not elegant, but satisfying. Jennifer made her choice. Now she had to live with it. And me? I finally felt free. The circus started the very next morning. 12 missed calls before 8 a.m. 2 voicemails that began with, "Can we talk?" and ended with, "You're a snake." Very productive. Then came the flood of texts. "You're throwing everything away. You're being cruel. You'll regret this." And my personal favorite, "Evelyn was never your friend. She used you." I didn't reply to any of it. Not because I didn't have something to say. I had plenty. But sometimes the strongest response is silence. Letting her vent into nothing said more than any message I could send. Meanwhile, I met with my attorney. Quick advice to future husbands. If you do one thing before getting married, get a solid prenup. Not because you expect failure, but because if things go sideways and your spouse treats marriage like a temporary arrangement, you'll want protection. I sat in his office while he reviewed the file and said calmly, "She doesn't get a dime. Not one." He looked up. "You kept the original signatures?" "Hard copy and scanned," I said. "Safety deposit box." He leaned back and smiled. "You're my favorite client." The prenuptial agreement was clear. There wasn't an infidelity clause, but it secured everything I owned before the marriage, my savings, the property I bought, my truck, my tools, and the construction business I built from the ground up. He read a section aloud. All income from premarital business entities shall remain separate and exempt from division in the event of divorce. He glanced at me. That includes the shop and the 2 rental properties. Everything, I confirmed, even the lawn equipment. He laughed. Prepared and organized. Jennifer was entitled only to what was in her personal account and whatever she physically left with. No spousal support, no split assets, not even the dog, which she had once called too clingy. He slid the documents across the desk. All you need to do is sign. We'll have her served. So I signed that day. My lawyer sent the papers to her high-rise rental. Yes, she had moved into an upscale apartment as if she were starting a glamorous new chapter. She called once, she was served. "Are you serious?" I responded with one sentence, "Dead serious. You opened the door, I'm just closing it." She texted back, "I didn't know what was in the prenup." "Not my fault," I replied. After that, silence, at least toward me. But she did reach out to Evelyn. Apparently, Jennifer showed up at Evelyn's apartment unannounced, knocking aggressively. No warning, no message. Just anger and heels clicking down the hallway. Evelyn opened the door calmly. "You betrayed me," Jennifer said. "How could you do this?" Evelyn didn't react. She kept her hand on the door and spoke clearly. "You ended your own marriage. I just chose not to clean up the aftermath. Flap, you walked away from the role. Someone else stepped in." Jennifer seemed to expect an apology. She didn't get one. "If that's all you came to say," Evelyn told her, "you can leave the same way you came, alone." And she closed the door. While Jennifer tried to regain control, I focused on logistics. I transferred subscriptions into my name, removed her access from shared accounts, changed passwords, closed every loose end. I cleaned the house, physically and mentally, took down wedding photos, donated decorations she left behind, threw out products she never packed, and just like that, she was gone. No alimony, no leverage, no control. Evelyn once asked if I felt unwell after everything. I told her no. I felt like I had walked out of a burning building and finally found fresh air. The divorce became official. When my lawyer called to confirm, I stood in my kitchen, still in work boots, and smiled. I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurt. I was finished. Life wasn't perfect, but it was mine again. I could end the story there, but Jennifer wasn't done creating noise. It was my sister Nora's birthday. We hosted a simple backyard barbecue. Close friends, family, food. I grilled myself instead of hiring caterers like Jennifer used to insist on. Evelyn helped with decorations. Nora brought her well-known potato salad. My cousin Jason was already on his third burger. The mood was relaxed. Then someone inside called out, "Leo, someone's at the gate." I walked over. Jennifer stood there, hair styled, heels on, oversized sunglasses, holding a gift bag. Everyone went quiet. I approached calmly. "You're not invited," I said. She forced a smile. "I just wanted to say hi, maybe talk." "Not the time, not the place." She removed her sunglasses. "I've been thinking, I want to give our marriage another chance. I made a mistake." I nodded. "That's clear." "I didn't realize what I had until it was gone," she continued. "Seeing you with Evelyn." "That's no longer your concern," I interrupted. People were watching. Nora stood across the yard with her arms crossed. "Can we talk privately?" Jennifer asked. "No, you had months. You made your choice. You're here because he walked away, and I didn't." She went quiet. "So you're just replacing me?" she asked. "It's that easy?" I answered clearly enough for everyone nearby to hear. "You replaced yourself when you gave me permission to stop being your priority." She tried to recover. "This isn't over. You can't erase everything." "You erased it," I said. "I just cleaned up." She looked like she was about to argue again, but Evelyn walked over and stood beside me. Calm, steady. She didn't raise her voice. "You were his past," Evelyn said evenly. "I'm his present and future. You can leave now." Jennifer looked around as if waiting for support. No one stepped forward. She turned and walked back out the gate, still holding the gift bag. A minute later, the music resumed. Nora handed me another burger and joked, "Happy birthday to me." Evelyn and I sat down. She looked at me and said quietly, "That felt right." "Better than winning the lottery," I replied. So that's the story. Jennifer wanted options. She explored them. Then she learned that love doesn't come with a backup plan. She assumed I would wait. She was wrong. I didn't just survive it. I built something better. And if you're watching this thinking about giving someone another chance after they treated you like an option, don't. Let them become someone else's lesson. You have better things ahead. Real peace. And for the record, Evelyn makes significantly better lasagna. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.